Hello, everyone. Welcome to Taxonomy Tuesday. We are the New Jersey Mycological Association, and we're here to do a show and tell of mushrooms that we have recently found, or lichens. So we take turns and we try to keep things moving. Would anyone like to start by sharing from their desktop? Otherwise, I will go to the emails.
I have some stuff.
Super.
I can be the icebreaker.
Excellent. Go ahead, Igor.
Okay, I'm going to share my stuff. Let's see. How do we do this? Uh, Wait a second. Oh, here we go. I had to click on that. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to go over a few observations that were made at the last foray of the season in the New Jersey Pine Barrens from a place called Estelle Manor. It's near Mays Landing, Atlantic County. So here we're looking at a Cortinarius from subgenus dermocybe, ostensibly. And I think this was identified at the foray, except that I cannot remember the name. And when I tried to look for it in John's species list, it wasn't there. So maybe the tag was never made. We kind of discussed it verbally, but there was no tag made because the larger fruiting body went to Ursula for dying, and I kept the smaller one for DNA sequencing. So as you can see here, we have this small kind of a drab colored, although this is more colorful than they are, dermocybe with a more kind of a brown cap and a red stipe. And just going to scroll through those pictures. Some of them are not very good. I was trying to capture the best lighting conditions without being too overexposed, but the mushrooms themselves are very dark, so it doesn't help. Sometimes I'm not sure why this is so dark. Um, but you can see that the gills here, well, this one is a better picture. The gills here are also sanguine, red, just as the stipe, and that contrasts the more brown cap. So we know this is not semi-sanguineous. And by the way, I just read a paper that came out about 2 years ago from Europe. They say that in Central Europe, semi-sanguineous is almost non-existent. And what they have is ominosus, and that's what's probably present in North America. So maybe ominosus is our species as well, and we should call what we're calling tinctorum now ominosus. But that's a different story. So this species is obviously not semisanguineous, anything from that particular subclade of Dermocybe. Um, the best names I could come up with were Cortinarius marylandensis and Cortinarius harrisonii, based on online references. I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of those species. Um,
Igor, I was gonna suggest looking at Marylandensis, but it sounds like you already did, and I've always been a little fuzzy on you know how to differentiate these species anyway.
yeah, well, Michael Quo, says that Marylandensis is a likes beech and oak, so more like a deciduous or broadleaf type of forest, not the coastal plain. And the bottom of the stipe there is red, not doesn't have that yellow mycelium or coloration. So I wasn't sure if this is real here or not. At the base of stipe, this is real yellow. But those two names are the ones that probably I would choose from, given the morphology. I checked like more observations of both things, and they kind of look similar to this. At any rate, it's not a very common species in the pine lands, in my experience. I don't think I see this very often.
Is this maybe one of those things too where you gotta, like, the purple ones, cut them open to see, is the purple only in this part and not that part?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, I don't like cutting things at forays because people are still looking at intact mushrooms, and I lack pictures from that stage that have, sectionings. When I get home, I'm usually pressed for time, and I just throw things in the dehydrator without taking any further pictures. But I agree that slicing this in two would have been very useful. Unfortunately, there's only two specimens here, or two fruiting bodies. All right. Any questions about this one? Well, we're going to get this sequenced, hopefully.
Yeah. Looks pretty small, looks interesting, red, grows in sand. Hope you can get a result.
Yeah, pine associated.
You said the Ursula took the larger one for dyeing. Does she know that it makes color just because it's probably related to semi-sanguineous, or has she used it before, or is just trying it out?
I think a lot of dermocybes are used for dyeing, especially the ones with red gills. And, phylogenetically, semi-sanguineous, tinctorum, and ominosus are very, very closely related. They are the same subclade, and you really have to build trees to see the distinction, in sequences. Just by visually inspecting them is not going to give you a good idea of, where those sequences are, how they come in. Anyway, so just remember that ominosus is probably going to be the winning name for our quote-unquote semi-sanguineous, which is probably not here anyway.
Okay. Makes sense.
I've been calling them tinctorum.
Tinctorum, yeah.
Can you throw that name in the chat at some point? Not now.
Which name? The ominosus?
Ominosis, yeah.
Yeah, like ominous. Yeah, ominosus.
Okay, makes sense.
Right. Now, next comes in this interesting Tricholoma. Two things about it. It's not, a few things about it. They're not very large fruiting bodies, so this is like probably one of the larger paper trays. So these things were probably, I don't know, caps 2.5 inches, maybe. I don't think they were even 3 inches across. Probably two and a half. Very robust stipes, and they're covered, in dense sand on the bottom. And there's one species called Nivipes that looks pretty much like this, except that, I thought that the color of the cap was not quite a good match to a Nivipes, which has more of a violaceous coloration in the cap, not this blackish, grayish black color that you see here. But, it's variable like all fungi, so maybe this is Nivipes after all. There was a similar collection that I'm going to click on right now to show you from Wells Mills just the week before. And you can see pretty much like a similar sort of morphology, except that this is more fibrillose, has a more fibrillose cap, but you can also see the sand covering the bottom of the stipe. I think the two other distinctions between those two collections was that one of them had an odor, I think this one, and the one from Estelle Manor did not smell, didn't have an odor at all. So I don't know if they're the same. I saved both of them, but let's just go back and focus on this one. I think they are different, probably. So Nivipes was sequenced by me 2 years ago. I found observations from FVP, an observation, and I left an extended set of notes, sequencing notes in there. So basically, Nivipes, if this is Nivipes, is basically a close relative or a next of kin to Portentosum, Tricholoma portentosum. So most likely it's edible and good, except that you have all the sand to deal with. Except that we have more than one portentosum in North America. We have the true portentosum, and then we have the North American portentosum, and then we have this thing called Nivipes, which is again, forms this very nice, tightly packed clade, suggesting that they are very, very, very closely related to each other. I saved, I think, one of those fruiting bodies, and getting rid of that sand was just very difficult. You cannot scrape it off from the stipe. It's like embedded.
Just visually, these look different from that other one that you showed. They're very broad at the base. Then they narrow down in that triangular stipe. The cap looks a little purplish to me. They're interesting.
Yeah, they're interesting. Most likely they are NIVPs. Did I mention NIVPs here somewhere? Yeah. So I'm going to click on something which got sequenced, and we call that NIVPs. So you can see they were purple or purplish violaceous, and then they got more brown, and again they're covered in sand. They have more kind of a bulbous, maybe stipe base, and this is how they look in the field. You can see that purple color in them. The gills are kind of whitish. Yeah, so I think this one and the one from a Stone Manor are probably the same thing. That would be my best
This one
guess.
you ran the DNA on already, this one.
Yeah, and you can see the discussion here, on the right. And
and
Steve Russell is going with this name. And actually, I built a tree, which took me like half a day to do. And this shows NIVPs and the two portentosums, one only from North America, and another one, which is the true portentosum. This clade here, highly supported, 0.99. You can see how clustered this is. This is very close. Okay.
Good. All right. Well, then maybe this other one, when it gets run, will match up.
Yeah, I propose with all confidence NIVPs, basically just to get this kind of a shoot in. And we'll see what it turns out to be. The next one is a Pluteus, and Pluteus is like, I'm not touching that thing with a 10-foot pole. If Tricholoma is something I can deal with, sort of, using those references, Pluteus, I just like, whatever. So not very large. The typical brown caps with some radial sunburst kind of a pattern you can see here. And I think the salient feature of the species is these longitudinal fibrils on the stipe that are blackish. You can see they're blackish at the upper stipe, and then I think the stipe stains brown as you handle it, and they sort of turn brown instead of black. You can see the fibrils here on the bottom, right at the point where the stipe was broken. And this is not my collection, by the way. Somebody else found this. I don't know who, but it's not mine. So I didn't think they were Servinus or anything like that. I thought maybe they're from even different section of Pluteus, not section Pluteus, something else. Maybe Dave knows if he's here. But I thought these were interesting enough to have them dried and sequenced. Any comments?
Did you throw any of this under the microscope?
No, I don't do microscopy really.
Well, that's how I'm fairly sure that's how you determine section Pluteus or not.
Right.
Is the hymeneal cystidia.
Yeah. I can measure spores. I haven't practiced much with crush mounts and things like that. And I think besides, I gave away my stains to Hunter, so I don't have any Congo red or methylene blue or whatever else you use there. But I could probably give you a portion of this material. Maybe you can get a nice crush mount and maybe help identify this before the DNA comes back.
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, here's the thing. I could figure out if it's section Pluteus or not.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
beyond that, I don't know. These are cool. The
Yeah, I mean,
yellow.
these are interesting. I don't think there. Somebody proposed here, this generic Pluteus cervinus group, whatever that means. I think it's
Yeah.
just a BS name now, given all the papers that Alfredo Justo has published.
So I
So
know this one. I know this one. Technically, the Pluteus cervinus group is Pluteus section
Pluteus,
Pluteus clade in the cervinus clade, right? And
right?
there are six species in there, um, and
Aha.
they don't actually because it is based on genetics. They don't all look like Pluteus cervinus. Whatever the true Pluteus cervinus is. Um, some of them look a little morphologically different than that. So
Yeah, I don't know. To
Right.
me, the Cervinus usually have that like shininess to them.
yeah, like Hangoi is in the Pluteus cervinus group, and that thing can be white, and it most often presents as white.
Yeah, and that's the name that people mostly use nowadays for our quote unquote Cervinus. Cervinus may not be even present in North America. I think it's a European name to begin with, right? But given that it's a saprobe, anything is possible. Uh, but I like these because they had these fibrils and were small. Typically, the quote unquote Cervinus that I see, deer mushroom in the field is much bigger and clunkier. These were very diminutive.
Mhm.
My hands are fairly small, and you can see that these mushrooms are pretty tiny.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think your first statement was the 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 best encompassing Pluteus. I don't know what to do with these things. It's a Pluteus.
Yeah. I like to throw expensive solutions at these problems, but at least that solution always gives you the bottom line ID. Um, all right. Moving on to another Tricholoma. Um, One fruit body, very clunky. Wasn't very large, but it was hefty. I didn't see any yellow staining, and the reason I'm mentioning yellow staining is that 2 years ago we found this yellow staining white Tricholoma that turned out to be Tricholoma sulferescens, species sulferescens Michigan 01. So that's a truly North American um, Tricholoma that's kind of, somewhat distantly related to the European sulfurescence. So I have no idea what this one is because A, it doesn't stain yellow as far as I can see. I mean, not outwardly. Um, when I dried it, it was still white. So I don't think it's that. And then it has these sort of scales, almost looks like on the disc that are
How about
uh,
how about an odor?
brownish.
Did it have an odor?
I can't recall. I might have smelled it, but it probably didn't really smell like anything or was like non-distinct. So I can't remember.
Hmm.
Um, but again, it's been saved, and I think we're going to get this sequence hopefully. Um, I just called it Tricholoma section Tricholoma, but it doesn't mean that that's the correct section for it because sulfurescence, I think, is not even in section Tricholoma to begin with.
And
Kind of
and
looks similar.
and that's why I asked because that one is supposed to have an odor, right? A pretty strong odor.
Sulfurescence, I don't know. Uh, Odorum has a very strong odor. Sulfurescence,
I'm pretty sure is mentioned in most descriptions with odorum, as having that a similar strong odor. I think I read that recently. Maybe I'm wrong.
Rotten egg odor or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, the thing that we had sequenced came back as a North American, you know, Michigan species something. So it's not the
Yeah, I
true.
have it up right now. So this is from 2 years ago, Estelle Manor, late October. So you can see that this thing stains yellow when you handle it. Got 2 specimens. I think it was one single collection, and that's what it looks like. So not quite the same as the one that I just showed you, but there's some semblance. And yeah, sulferescens Michigan 01. I don't think I discussed this. It's sort of self-explanatory when you blast it.
Ooh.
So only 3 collections of that stuff from North America. Anyway, so I think this one is different. I haven't seen this before. I don't know what it is. So we'll try.
Yeah,
Great.
the scales on the cap are quite interesting on that last one.
Yeah, well, the one from this year, I'm not sure if it's just cracked into these scales because the mushroom expanded or whether this is a part of the morphology. It seems like there's some finer, scales here on the fringe, but it's difficult to tell whether this is natural or whether this just came about because of the conditions and the way the mushroom grew. It seems like there are no scales here on the cap margin. Yeah, lots of questions, not many answers. Now, this collection of a Lycopodiid mushroom was interesting. And Brandon, you probably remember this one, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
I think it was growing in soft wood, and you can see the mycelium, the threads, mycelial threads, very thick, going through the substrate. And they had a stalk, so this is not Apioperdon piriforme, although it was tempting to call it that just because it was growing on the wood. You can see how the pigment is more prominent on the quote unquote cap portion of the fruiting body, whereas the stipe or the pseudostipe, there's less of it and it's kind of more scaly here. These were very soft. I touched them all. They were very mature. And you can see the spore ejection port already open at the very top. I don't know if this was saved, but I thought they were interesting to photograph. Sort of an interesting color too. Some warm shade of brown, at the same time not very dark. Maybe somebody has a name for that shade of brown. So
Golden
any
brown.
ideas? What's that? Sepia, I
Golden
said?
brown. Golden brown, yeah.
Golden brown, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the fall ones of some of these puffballs do take on a different coloration than they have in the summertime, early fall. And maybe that's because there's something different. I don't know.
And Igor, did you ask if I remember this one because I was making the case for Apioperdon at the time?
Yeah, I asked you whether you remember these or not. So you can see there's some texture to the skin, so maybe there were these projections that got worn off, but they look like goosebumps, like anything, I don't know, kind of weird. So maybe John and Nina saved this, I'm not sure, but I tried to convince them to take them.
Well, I'll continue that support. I do think these are Apioperdon. They can have they do have, they're reported as having pseudostipes.
So I proposed Apioperdon just because it grew on the wood and it had some semblance, to the standard Epidon piriforme that we all familiar with, a pear-shaped puffball that grows on wood. That's why I proposed with all confidence Apioperdon as the genus, as opposed to Lycoperdon. Okay. Let's see. One more close up. You can see the scales and the stipe and the goosebumps. The small projections on the fruiting body.
Mm.
Also, the time of the year really supports Apioperdon. Right around this time, and in the weeks surrounding it, I was finding Apioperdon piriforme everywhere, and in great numbers. So,
Right, but you would agree that this is likely not piriforme, right? This is something else, right? Because Epidon
no,
piriforme does have a stipe.
yes, it does.
It does?
Yes, I would call this piriforme
You would
personally.
call this piriforme?
Yeah, there's a photo on Myco Quebec that looks exactly like this, and then there are some with even more pronounced stipes.
Hmm.
And this was from Estelle Manor, right? So it was probably what on this wasn't your collection, so we don't know what kind of wood it was growing on, right?
No, we don't. But I would presume it was probably hardwood.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably piriforme, but who knows? That might just be one of those names that, oh, it's on wood. Everything is called piriforme.
Yeah, I remember there was a study that was just published recently on all puffballs, like 20 genera of them. And I have to look up and see if there's more than one Apioperdon in the world than just piriforme.
I'll look that up real quick. I do think it is what is it? Monophyletic,
Monotypic.
monotypic.
Yeah. Now, not to lose any time, the last thing I have here is this strange polypore-like mushroom, and I do think it's a polypore because it seems like the fertile surface consists of pores. It's not a very good photograph, it's a fairly small fruiting body, and taking macro pictures with my camera sometimes can be a challenge because of focusing. But I think here you can see what sort of looks like very, very small pores. At least there's a texture to the underside of these narrow shelves, and that's why I think it's some kind of a polypore. I reached out to Luke Smithson a couple of days ago. He hasn't gotten back to me, so I thought that he might have an idea what this is. But we couldn't idea this at the 4A. So if you have any ideas, speak up. Fairly small, kind of elaborate, lots of these shelves, overlapping shelves, kind of merging together, very lumpy and clumpy. Yeah.
What's there something Niveo?
Or foamies.
Yeah. Does that look like this?
I don't think so. That's a little bigger,
Okay.
chunkier is a better word.
Yeah. Oh, this is pretty tiny. Yeah. It reminds me of that, but
Yeah,
it's
it reminded me. I remember this one pretty well because it had a decent flexuous nature to it. It wasn't very stiff. You could kind of bend it a little bit, even though it was
yeah,
very
it wasn't
small.
rigid. It was
Mhm.
softer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it reminds me of something. The texture reminded me of something, but I couldn't really
Place it.
figure
Yeah.
the name. Yeah, I couldn't place it.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. I think it is poroid. You can still you can see something that resembles pores in this mediocre photograph. It's kind of subtle, but you can see here on the right hand side where I'm circling with the cursor that it appears to have like dots inside or openings or something like that. It's not like stereum.
This is
It's
the
not.
only photograph.
Yeah, it's the only photograph that allows you to see at least some level of detail.
Okay.
I have another one here, but I think it's not going to really
All right.
give you
Oh,
any
that-
better perspective.
That's the upper surface there.
That's the
No,
That's the
underside.
that's the
undersurface.
under. Yeah,
Okay. Hmm.
you can see it looks kind of grainy because I think there are pores. I don't know. Tiny, tiny, tiny
Yeah,
pores.
there were definitely pores on it. I think I walked away from this thinking this is like a young growth of something that would be more easily identified as it matures. But I don't know.
Yeah, that I would second that.
Right. Size here probably is not important. It's things that typically are large can be also very small. It depends on some factors. But in this case, I don't know. I mean, it's unlikely this would grow to even 5 inches or even 3 inches. This is like very, very small.
Right. It's already becoming reflexed. I mean, obviously it's already reflexed. So it's at least starting to mature. The Niveoporiformes, that starts off as even when young, it's a much different growth. It is doesn't even look like a shelf mushroom. And then once it does start forming shelves, the margin is thicker, much thicker, kind of rounded, more or less.
Uh-huh. Yeah, here it's more sharp, blade-like on the edge. Yeah. Well, like I said,
But
I'm not really well
but yeah,
versed or curious about polypores, but this one kind of made an impression on me for some reason. I don't know why.
not a bad idea with Niveoporiformes, which I think they cut us a break, and that is back to fomies, if I'm not mistaken, or Fomitopsis maybe.
Oh, okay. So we're still in the flux as far as the generic concern in polypores. Great. So that's all I have, and I took out a good chunk of time, so I think it's time for me to stop sharing. And unless you have any questions about any of these things, so thank you for your attention.
So much for sharing. I love when you share, and those were great finds.
Yeah, I finally posted everything on the Mo. I think I have maybe a couple more collections from later in November. Nina, John, and I went out a week after Extel Manor to FPP, and we found some stuff there. But that's it for me for this season. I haven't taken any other pictures after that point in time.
Were there any Matsutake when you went to Franklin
Yes,
Parker?
yes, we actually found Matsutake in a place where we've never seen it before.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've been to that particular spot since like 2009 and never seen Matsutake, and they were there. Yeah, it's strange that Matsutake, I think, gave 2 fruitings this year. One came in the first half of October, and then the second one was in first half of November. And maybe there were other fruitings in between.
All right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to share from their desktop?
I have one that I can share.
All right.
Give me a second here.
All right.
With
Kenneth, William, Evan, Tristan, Paul.
Yeah, I have a couple, Lila, if you have time.
Okay, all right, we'll have you go next.
But, um,
After,
uh,
is that Emily? Emily,
Yep.
that's trying to bring some up. All right, and then we've got a few that came in on email too, so, ooh, here we
All
go.
right. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, let me get myself situated here. All right, so I found this over the weekend, just a day before the snow hit. And it was really the only thing that was out that wasn't completely, done in by the weather. But I'm still on the fence about what to call this. So size-wise, we're looking at about between 1 to 3 inches on these, and they're very thin. So some names that I was looking at, the Pycnoporus sanguineus and the Pycnoporus cinnabarinus. My understanding is that cinnabarinus is the northern species. However, it's usually much thicker around the edges, and this is quite thin, which is why I'm leaning toward Pycnoporus sanguineus, which I believe is now Trametes sanguinea, or maybe it's the other way around. I'm not good with keeping up on the names. But does anyone else know?
I know that
Well, it's in
they're,
Trametes now,
yeah,
both of them, I think.
Both
I know
Trametes
they're
now.
both in Trametes. I struggle figuring out which one it is though.
Yeah, the only real difference that I could figure out, I guess it was on Mushroom Expert, was that the edges are quite thin on Sanguineus versus a thicker on Cinnabarinus. And even though Sanguineus is typically a southern species, they'd said that it is found all the way up the coast up to New York, and that falls right in line with where I am here in Vineland, New Jersey. So I don't know, just a cool find, nice bright thing to find among the darkness.
I would say
Yeah.
you definitely get some southern species. I mean, South Jersey absolutely gets these more reported southeastern U.S. species that are pretty common in South Jersey. So
Mhm.
that distribution shouldn't rule either of them out, I don't think. Yeah, I think you're probably right. If Mushroom Expert says that edge is thinner, yeah, I'll buy it. Not arguing.
And
Cool.
the fact that we see these pseudostipes, is that a distinction between the two species? Because
Oh,
Cinnabarina, I think, was just a shelf without a stipe.
Yeah, the morphology on this doesn't look like the cinnabar that I find. I have found some sanguineous before in Florida, and one thing I noted is it seemed a little more red than, a little more red, and the color's a little bit different on these two, but I don't know. It's it's hard to say, but it is always really nice to see these in the winter time. It's
Yeah.
they're
Did,
pretty.
And I will
did,
say, yeah, I did notice that the you can see the little bit of the stipe there, and also as they age, they seem to lose their color entirely. If you can see these up in the
mm,
top right.
Yeah,
No, I don't have
right.
them.
They're not really fresh. Don't
Right,
agree. Yeah,
right.
yeah, which is too bad because I think it'd be even easier to tell because but even the hue on these just looks different. So I agree with you too.
did you happen to save any? Because they're good for paper making.
Well, I didn't know about the paper making. I know they're also used for dyeing. I didn't save them, but they're only 3 minutes from my house, so I can go back and get them.
Yeah, you might as well.
Is
They,
it one for dyeing, but not the other one? Because I didn't
Oh,
think.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I didn't think the cinnabarina was a good dyer, but I may be wrong. But maybe this sanguineous is.
Yeah,
No, that was just something I'd come across quickly. I wasn't really looking for that, so maybe I got them confused.
I know
Right.
Cinnabarina is definitely used for paper, and it does impart, the orange tone to the paper, but I don't remember the details for dyeing wool.
I think Russo said that it just doesn't form a complex with the mordant, so it just doesn't do anything for the wool. It just
doesn't bind, yeah.
doesn't bind, doesn't stick.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just
So-
note, 'cause I was looking it up yesterday. I was doing a little write up on what I was calling tinctorum, Cortinarius tinctorum. Apparently, I have to go back to school and find a new name for that. But I was going over, what mushrooms are used for dyeing in North America, and that list, according to NAMA, is extensive.
Yes.
But they note that only a few of them are really sought after, right? So this is probably something that's on that list,
Right.
but not really all that useful. It doesn't create it doesn't work with the mordant all that well.
Right. All right. Well, it might be worth it just for the paper then. Thanks, Lila.
Sure. All right. Yeah, always fun to see. And I have found that the thin one, whatever the right name is for it, in Round Valley, so central New Jersey, as far north as central New Jersey. So
I was just reading up on Myco Quebec, and they, in the remarks for not sanguineous because they don't have it there, for cinnabarina, they make the distinction between the two, but then they also go to note sanguineous is not found in Quebec, so it doesn't go that far north, but it absolutely exists in New Jersey.
I will say there weren't too many observations on iNet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that
that might be a product of the AI being trained, and everyone just calls them
right.
cinnabarina. So, no one's going in there confidently enough with, it's sanguineous. It's got the thin margin, a little bit of a stipe.
Okay. William, I think you said you had something. We'll move on, unless you have more.
If
Emily, do you
anyone
have
else
more?
has more, because those will be pretty old, like a couple of years ago. If anyone has newer ones, maybe I can go later.
It's all right. Just double check, Emily, were you done?
Yep, that's all I had.
Okay. Yeah, let's look at yours, William. A couple years old in December or
Let me see. Actually, I forgot. I think one is in October, August even.
yeah, we'll
What's the
take a
best
look
way
at
to
them.
what's the best way? I have them in iNet. What's the best way to
Yeah.
show?
Just select the green share and pick the right window on your device. Have iNet open and
Sure. Okay.
and then you probably have to hit share again once you.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There we go. Okay, we can see.
How to get rid of this window? Okay, this one, yeah, August, 2 years ago. But this one, when I look at it, I thought it's just a oyster mushroom. The surface like this.
Yeah, smooth
It's
on the
on a log.
underside. Yeah.
Like this.
What caused that yellowness on the broken stipe?
I don't know. It's there.
There is a parasite that attacks oysters that looks like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then let me see.
And then over to the right, there's an arrow you can advance through the photos if you have more than one there.
There's this window. I don't know how to. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, yeah.
Could this be some transfer from Amanita flavaconia, like a patch of yellow vulva or something?
Now, when I flip it,
Yeah, there's no,
it's smooth, completely smooth. There's no gill.
yeah.
No, I was referring to the yellow stuff on the stipe.
Oh,
I said that if it spent enough time in your basket, maybe it picked up that yellow patch from an amanita.
I think I just pulled it directly from the log. I didn't put it anywhere. And I
Yeah,
took
some,
Oh, I see. I understand. Okay, never mind.
Piscopus when very, very young, has that look, at least on the back side, where you can't see really any gills or pores or anything. It's a guess, but
The cap really doesn't look like a polyporus to me. You're right on the hymenium, though.
yeah, they're coming like this.
Could this be what is that? Umbellatus, maybe?
no, growing on wood like that. Polypore umbellatus? I don't think so.
No, that grows like in clusters. It looks more like Griffola frondosa than
But it's
anything else, right?
not that either.
And besides, I don't think umbellatus occurs in New Jersey. It's too south for it.
Yeah, it is something I'm looking it up now because I've never found it. I've always wanted to find it.
I mean, if you're in
So
Wisconsin
how
or in Canada, you'll see umbellatus, maybe even in Maine, New England, but not in Jersey. I mean, this looks familiar, right?
yeah, I mean, it looks like just like oyster.
yeah.
Except that it doesn't have the gills.
Yeah,
That
exactly. Smooth.
Piscopus spadius, I think, is plausible. Very young one, though.
The cap
Yeah.
color is kind of not right.
Yeah, because it's young. It hasn't gotten that browner, but I'm looking here on INAT and I see some young ones that look very similar.
Well, also the stipe doesn't look right
Yeah.
because that has my understanding, and maybe this is a conditional thing, because these are also pretty big for us to be considering them young. Pisces badius. There's like a clear delineation of the hymenium and the black stipe, right? Which can be white when it's young,
Right.
but some of these look pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh,
They,
yeah,
they get like 8 inches across, though, so they're small to what they normally get to, right?
Oh, this one I actually put it off with a little.
Grown on wood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fair point too, Lila.
Yeah.
Could I see the one where the group of them?
This one?
You had a picture of I think like the whole group of them.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Mhm. Starting to get that orangey center there and that one. Darker, that center's starting to go darker.
I mean, that looks like a rock next to it from one side. I mean, as far as growing on the wood or on the dirt, I mean, that could be going either way.
Well, everything
Well,
we've
these
talked
are what?
about so far has been something that grows on wood.
Yeah, these are growing on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wood, like on the ground like that, I mean, it could just as easily be
I
you
see
know,
what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Something like
all the same at that point.
something like when you find Tylopolis phelleus growing on wood, like it's not
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Decayed
But I
wood.
think I think this is probably a saprobe growing, wood decomposer.
The solid
Yeah.
hardwood.
Yeah, if only there was a way to search on the shape, funnel shape, no pores underneath.
When it's young, the surface is like this. It's like a wrinkle.
Did we mention Osteina obducta? I'm looking at it in Mushroom Expert right now. I'll put it in the chat. It looks pretty close.
Never even heard of that. What was the
Yeah.
genus?
Uh, Osteina?
Mm. Yeah, I've never heard of that either. Okay. Laterally attached to the deadwood of conifers. Do we know the type of wood, William?
In that area, there are oak, certainly. Yeah, it's a mixed wood.
Okay.
I think it's a very,
And
very
and
hard to
I'm
study.
looking at the quote page. He throws in on the description rarely on hardwood,
Mm.
which that always gets thrown in on some of these discussions. Like if it's grown on this, oh well, it's rarely on hardwood, right?
Mm.
But that looks pretty good. I mean, I can't make out the stipes on these.
Yeah,
The quo.
let me see what else I
Yeah,
have.
I wonder if
Did
I
you
can.
Oh
save
yeah,
any?
yeah, yeah.
No, no,
No?
no, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's very smooth. That's what strikes me. The whole thing, the bottom is completely smooth. I couldn't even
Mm.
find like a pores and you know,
You looked with a loop, no pores?
no pores, smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emily, I think that's the leader in the clubhouse.
yeah. I don't think this is spicy peas badius. It's more woody. It definitely has pores, and it's this thing is more fleshy to me, at least visually. Um, Looks more
Yeah,
like a um, like an oyster from above. Um, so yeah, I don't think this is spicy peas badius.
I like Emily's suggestion as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, seems good.
I mean, I've
Osteina
never heard of
abducta.
it before, but it looks right.
Same.
oh, what's the name again, Emily?
I'll put it in the chat
Okay.
here.
Yeah, Osteina abducta, but it's also pored. It shows pores in Michael Koh's photographs. Maybe it's more mature there, but at least the cap color is a good match.
Again,
There's
there's
that yellow
yellow
again.
stuff at the
Yeah,
bottom.
Yeah.
that's not the one we were looking at earlier, right? That's a
Like, is
different
this
one.
whole
This is
thing
different.
attacked by
Yeah, it's
some
different. It's
other
just, yeah.
organism? I don't know.
Could be. Almost looks like
Oh, that's a good thought. Like it's been like
Diplomatized.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why we don't see the pores.
I was going to throw out lentinus as an as a possibility. Lentinus squirrelosis.
oh, uh, what
But
was? Well, do you guys remember that Lentinus tigrinus
Yeah.
uh,
talk.
talk that had the gastroid form that had no gills?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh! And there's yellow on this picture that yellow stuff is on a picture of it on Google, which is interesting. Hmm. I think it's worth considering as well.
I'm looking at the Osteina obducta in the Bassett book, and the pores on that seem to be very obvious in the picture that they have. But the clump of them like being looks very similar to what he has, and the edges seem to have a frilliness to them.
It's very thin, the edge.
So you didn't keep one even to dry it out to see what happens when it dries?
No, I thought at the time I thought it's just a oyster, but then I check oyster. It should have some gills there, but it
Yeah.
doesn't.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
Okay. Anyway.
Do you remember where you collected this?
Yes, it's actually in Teetertown.
Teetertown.
Yeah.
At the foray in Teeter, the place where we
No,
foray or
no.
somewhere else?
I went there just myself. Because it's closest to me, that park. So I went there in a weekend, and then I don't think I don't think I went that year to Teetertown there for a. So I just went myself there. Um, yeah, August. I think we
Well,
usually go there
if you
in.
see it again there, preserve a specimen.
Mm,
Take more pictures, of course, and yeah, that's a head scratcher.
okay. So let me see what else. Any more question on that one?
No, it'd just be cool to go back and see if there's some more mature ones. Be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite a few of them that I. Oh yeah, that one. So these are typically pine Lactaria in the pine forest. I just don't know what they are because they. Uh,
Did you smell them?
yes, this pretty strong smell. I don't know how to describe it. It's pungent, a little strong smell.
Like camphor?
Fleshy. Yeah.
Like camphor?
Yeah, it is strong. It is. I remember it is pretty strong, and then it's copious. The Lactaria.
Did it have much milk?
Yeah, quite a bit. Let's see. So they are just like that, scatter around, and then the stem is pretty big.
And what the smell was strong, but what what did it smell like? Was it a pungent bad odor, like fishy, or
Chemical.
like camphor, or chemical, or like pepper?
It's camphor. It's probably, yeah.
So there's Lactarius camphoratus, which it could be.
Can somebody tell me what this camphor is?
Camphor smell. Okay, that's
I'm
one.
glad you asked, Chris. I was looking it up because I don't know either.
I think it's like the Vicks Vapor Ups kind of smell a little bit. It's in a lot of medicinal things.
All right.
I would have said I don't know how to describe it, but medicinal is, yeah.
Camphor, yeah, it's a natural product, a natural substance, pretty strong smell. You smell it, you know, oh, this is chemicals. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it is strong, pungent. It's like irritating to the nose. I think this one has pretty strong smell.
Yeah, it could be Lactarius camphoratus. I think it's worth
Camphoratus.
looking at that.
Okay, yeah, that's all I have for the time. I still have some, but maybe save for next time.
I think we see plenty of these nondescript, smelly, small Lactariuses in the Pine Barrens, New Jersey. I think we just collectively call them camphoratus or something like that. But yeah, they're sort of pinkish brown, fleshy in color, and they're small and they smell, and they're very, very cryptic. I don't even bother putting a name on these things unless they really, really smell like, camphor oil. But there's probably even, a species group or multiple species that form a particular clade. These are tough.
Yeah, I agree. I sent a Lactarius in. Uh, there's a lot of Lactarius that they all look alike. They all have the same descriptions, and then even once you get into the microscopy, it's not much help. So I find these things super difficult.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have for the time. I can show a few more, but yeah, other people.
I like yours. You should show another one.
Oh, there are a lot of them. Okay, one more. This one is another one that I don't know what it is. So it's also in the pine. It's actually I found them on the same day next to the one I showed you earlier. This.
Agaricus for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just about see in there. Still pink. Nice.
Yeah, I might have a name for you, but I have to look something up. That's a funny thing. I remember the mushroom where I found this, but I cannot remember the name. At least something in my memory works.
And it looks
It
like
was
we have.
actually
Go ahead, Igor.
identified for me by Rick Kerrigan just from sight, by sight. And when I sequenced it, he was dead on, and that happened many times. So he would propose a name, and I would sequence an Agaricus and confirm his determination. I mean, Rick was very good.
This could be different. It's not the same one, but it could be just next to it.
No, I think that's actually the shot that I was looking for.
Oh, really?
The
So you thought it's the same as the other, the one earlier?
mhm.
Where
Yeah.
did you collect this?
This is actually in Massachusetts, in Western Massachusetts.
Western Massachusetts.
Central. I'm not Western. Central. I think this is different. I don't know why I put them together.
You know,
Yeah.
looking at the cap, you know, I'm
Yeah, it's
thinking it
different.
almost looks like vinosobrunneofumidus.
Look at the
that in
web.
the chat.
Because that species grows in pine oak woods and it's common in New Jersey. I think it's one of 3 species of Agaricus we find in the Pine Barrens, and by far the most common. Well, the name that he gave me for that one was Agaricus approximans, but that looks different. And the reason I mentioned that collection because I also found the Sunder pines in an otherwise deciduous habitat. But it doesn't have the same ornamentation on the cap, so I'm going to take it back. Did you smell this?
This one has no smell.
No smell at all?
I don't remember I have any smell
Okay.
when I smell it.
Because vinosobrunneofumidus has an odor, kind of a licorice, very pleasant. And again, the way that ornamentation or the scales, the color of the scales and the placement suggests vinosobrunneofumidus, but I don't know if that would be appropriate for this collection because it's of its location away from the coastal plain, and in western Massachusetts or central Massachusetts. If you dropped KOH in this collection and it turned pale green, yes, to the color you can barely see, that would be vinosobrunneofumidus.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Man, that last picture with that classic chocolate brown there.
Were they all white pines or different pines?
They are
Yeah.
all white pines.
White pines.
Yeah.
You take nice pictures, William.
Thank you. Okay. That's it.
Did it stain yellow when you handled it, or red? Any color? Did you slice them?
No, I did not slice them. They don't have any yellow stain. I think I
Okay.
touched some of them.
All right.
Yeah. I should have done that, at least scratch it a little bit. But they look in a very small area, and then there are quite a few of them, and I cannot even tell whether they are the same or not. Like this guy, it could be just younger, and then what about this? It may be
Yeah, they're
just
the
like
same.
2 feet away from it.
Yeah, it's all the same. I'm pretty sure of it.
Oh, it is the same? Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
because
it's just an expanded cap, so that ornamentation gets pushed apart, and the scales don't get as dense. They get sort of they thin out on the margins, but you can still see on the disc they're closer to each other. They're more densely packed together. Yeah, it's no question it's the same thing.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, get some
Now,
KOH And when you have Agaricus, just drop KOH in it and see if it turns yellow or any different color. And you have easy access to chemicals, I know, so that should not be a problem.
Yep. Different concentrations if you want.
Yeah, 5 to 10% should do.
5 to 10, okay.
Yeah, whatever molar that's supposed to be, or you forget.
Okay, thank you. Uh,
Carlisle. Okay. Carlisle, Massachusetts.
yeah, Central Eastern. It's a little bit towards Central Eastern.
Were the woods all like that, or that was like a separate patch of conifers?
It's mostly conifers, and then there
Mostly.
are some oaks. Um, yeah, it's mostly conifers. It's in a park. It's called Great Brooks. It's a farm park. Yeah, a lot of pines there.
Okay. I'm going to see whether vinosobrunneofumidus is found in Massachusetts or anywhere in New England, just out of curiosity. Because that's the only proposal I can think of right now. It kind of
They actually
got
have
me.
quite a different species than New Jersey. I think the vegetations are different in Massachusetts. They have more pines, more white pines. Yeah,
Yeah, but it would be interesting just to find out what the range of the species is, as well as its preference for habitat. So, I mean, you can never really rule out just because it's not in the coastal plain. But it would be true that I don't see Vinosobrunneofumidus anywhere outside of the coastal plain.
mm. That's
All right. Well, we've got Hunter and Brandon, not Bruno, Brandon, have sent in some things.
You want to go first, Brandon?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, let me switch back. Get Brandon's up.
Do I have to do anything, Lina?
Stop sharing.
Okay. Where did it go? Hmm?
It should be at the top of the screen.
Okay. Stop sharing.
All right, I'm gonna.
Yeah, help me out, Lina. I don't
I'm
know.
just gonna replace it. I think I can replace it with
Mm-hmm.
something that I've got here.
Thank you.
All right, did that work?
Yes.
All right. Okay, good.
All right. Cool. So this is, a wild name that I'm applying to an Inocybe. Um, it's something in the Inocybe geophylla group, I'm pretty sure, which is it's a handful of species. I forget how many, not too many, but they kind of get applied to these whitish Inocybe's. And on the the macro here, you can see that the cap it is white, but it has a bit of a yellowish tinge to, especially the center of the cap, yellow brown. I would not consider that color orange, which is one way to exclude some of at least one species in the geophylla group, but it's not pure white, which I'm of the opinion that the true Inocybe geophylla is purely white on the cap, and the umbo, which these have, you can see the one on the left, it's more of a broad umbo. It's not really super pointed in any way, which seems to be another geophylla thing.
Okay.
But I mean, the macro photos, I mean, they're not great. The story's under the scope, right? I guess this tells you a nice. These are in situ, so we're talking. It's mixed woods. There's oaks. Um, there's pitch pine. Um, there actually was one rogue white, the only white pine growing on this entire preserve was maybe 40 feet away. So probably not associating with that, but either way, it should be noted.
This could be a white pine needle over here on the right. I see 5 needles. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, but again,
Okay.
pretty far away. Tough to say exactly what it was associating with.
Mhm.
The spores are really cool. Once you go down the rabbit hole of why these spores are cool, because they're pretty boring looking. Um, So this is one of the smooth spored Inocybe. And if you look at the one just to the left of the 4 integer, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, that one there. Um, so Inocybe bellidiana, and it's in the notes, Ofrianensis or something like that. Starts with an O. Are 2 species within this geophylla group that have spores with a dorsal swelling. So there's one side is more swollen than the other side, and that can clearly be seen. Uh, yeah, there, with the upper side being the swollen dorsal, as they describe it.
Yeah, a couple other seem to have it too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, they all had it, but you can't get all these things in the right profile in the same photograph, right? So
Mhm.
the they all had that, but this photograph kind of best exemplifies that one just to the left of the 4. What I'm talking about.
It's like a hunchback. It's cute.
Exactly. Yeah, a couple more photos, just trying to show that dorsal swelling as it is described. And it's also described that dorsal can be a little bit angular when caught in the right profile, and I think you can see that in a couple of these. Maybe the best so the one between 6 and 7 underneath there.
What's real funny is the one to the far, far left. That seems to be, I mean, like, is are we looking at that swollen part, the round bit there?
I'd be looking straight down on that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. With that flat side also being in profile a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's interesting.
And then if you want to move on to the next photo here, just more. I've read dorsal swell, and I was like, all right, well, I got to capture that these spores in as many angles as I possibly can. Um,
Yeah.
probably was looking at the one right above the 4, but you know,
Did you get a new scope? These are nice pictures.
no.
No? Okay.
And my
Good.
scope is dirty as heck. So
They look
I
pretty darn
appreciate
good.
I appreciate that. Um, and then this is how you maybe up to now you're like, you sure this is an ossipe? It's an ossipe. There's your hymeneal cystidia with the thick walls with some action going on at the apex, some cloudy maybe hooks or horns. Um, but yeah, that's an ossipe trait. And when I say a ossipe trait, I mean an ossipe proper, not one of these new genera, Inosperma or Malosperma or something like that. Malocybe, Inosperma. This is a true Inocybe. And, I know it's something in the geophylla group, or at least I think. And I'm pretty sure it's bellidiana. But, yeah, there's a hymeneal cystidia just gotten off a smash mount. And you can see at the apex there, it's got what did we call that once? The toupee. It's got like a little hat on.
Yeah. Good.
But yeah, I mean,
That's a great
anyone?
picture.
Thanks, man.
Well, I've never seen these, so I have no suggestions. I think you've done your homework on this. Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I come here with this type of thing, just like, yeah, anyone wants to poke holes in this, please do, because this is a name that isn't used often. Actually, Lila, can you go back to that last one?
This one?
Yeah, and the cystidia that you had already zoomed in on. Yep, that one right there. So this is a potbelly cystidia, uh, where similar to the spores, one side is more straight, and then that underside has that little bit of a pot belly, which is in support of bellidiana, as well as this next cystidium, which is just super irregular and looks nothing like the rest of them. But there are some of these on the description of bellidiana that look exactly like this. See how it looks? No, you were right. Yeah, that one looks so much different from the last ones. Almost has a little bit of a finger at the end, right?
Yeah.
Which, yeah. Again, I think it's bellidiana. Seems to be kind of a rare thing. But I also think that a lot of these white to whitish Inocybees are just always called geophylla. Michael Quebec says geophylla is very common. I don't know how commonly we find geophylla around here. And then that says for some of the other species within that group that they're all rare. So, is that a product of all those other species actually being rare and geophylla being common? Or, are all these things just kind of called geophylla for the most part, therefore making them common?
Yeah. Well, we've got to learn them, and then maybe we'll start to differentiate them better. So you're starting us down that path. Did you save some to send in?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, any questions or anyone have an opinion on a species? I would love to hear that.
Can I just see the photo of the mushroom again? I totally have no opinion on wrong or right. I just wanted to get a good look at it again. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's one of these things. When I was writing this up, I was like, yeah, LBMs, everyone knows what an LBM is, and no one wants to touch them. But there's a ton of these little white mushrooms that get kind of that LBM treatment as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool.
We can move on.
All right. See what else you sent in here.
I always want to say megalospora, but it's Mycena megaspora. And I'm pretty sure that is what I have here. I unfortunately didn't know what I was looking at. Now, I always try to get the base of everything, but I did not get the base of any of these because they're pretty fragile, and I wasn't doing a good enough job of doing an excavation work like you would with an Udamanziella or something like that. But this species, if I'm correct on the identification, has a rooting stipe, which is unique for a Mycena. In the field, I was kind of thinking these might be in Entoloma, one of those kind of bluish Entolomas. I mean, those dark caps. These are found terrestrial. They have this wild bloom on them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a lot of bloom.
Yep, and
Got it up here.
that part where you can't see the bloom, that is intentionally me wiping that bloom away on the one on the
Okay.
left,
This one
at
here.
least. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can see the marginal striations on the one on the left as well,
Mm-hmm.
which after popping it under the microscope, I'm like, is this a Mycena? Uh, I think Megaspora fits just based on the huge spores, and they're mycenoid and amyloid.
So you got
Still cut off.
it's still cut off there? All right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so this is them in melters, and you have to look at them in melters almost to even be able to make them out. And you can see they're taking on that darker coloration. So they're Mycena shaped. They're amyloid. It's a Mycena. And when I say amyloid, that's a reaction in Meltzer's reagent um, that makes the spores blackish or bluish. And here you can see the size. I'm sure I have. I think they were up to 13 or something like that, which is pretty large for Mycena. It's not completely unheard of, but for the the macro presentation of this thing combined with those large spores, I think I think this is a pretty good idea. But I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts. Yeah, and I'm always looking for a broom cell uh, with a Mycena. I can never find them. Um, Not sure what this is. I'm just always looking for a broom cell. These are probably just basidioles, immature basidia.
Remind us again what the broom cell looks like roughly.
Like a broom, right?
I knew you were gonna say.
So, well, it would be these with like a bunch of fingers coming out of the
There
top.
you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once again, not even sure what we're looking at here. Maybe just hoping to. There's a basidium right there. Yeah. That's probably what I was trying to include, which is far from helpful. Yeah, there's 2 or 4 there.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, any familiarity with Mycena megaspora? It is. I think
I,
it's like uncommon, right? It's not rare or anything like that, but
How much further down do you think it was growing? Do you have any idea?
probably another couple inches.
That would have been cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lactarius again.
Yeah. My turn for Lactarius. But this one's cool. It was growing in sphagnum, and when I say growing in sphagnum, I mean growing in sphagnum. I made sure that all of these specimens, and there were a lot of them, uh, were absolutely in the sphagnum. There's a few species that associate with sphagnum in Lactarius proper, but beyond just that kind of interesting fact. They have this huge umbo. They go in fungibiliform in maturity. Yeah, look at that umbo on that one there. It's
Yeah.
sunken in and then super prominent. And if you can go back to the last photo, actually, Lila, let's have a look at the in fungibiliform one, right? Which is one of my favorite words. Just means funnel shaped. Yeah, that one there. Really upturned. The milk on these was really scant. What I observed was it was white at first and then gained a bit of pigment. So it was very watery at first. And then you could tell, yeah, okay, it's not just water coming out of there. It turned a little white, changed a little bit of color. So it was actually the latex and not just, squeezing saturated water out of these things. But it was really scant. So. And maybe I have a note about the odor. If I don't, I didn't pick anything up from it.
So not camphoratus or?
So I don't think that's camphoratus.
Okay, not odorous. Okay. Bitter taste. No latex released, but I guess it did eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds a little different. Yeah, I'm not really any good at these.
Yeah, neither am I. I came up I came up with some names just based off of sphagnum associated fungi Lactarius.
Mhm.
None of them really fit. Like one of them that fit looked looked really good. Was a willow associate, but the description of that thing was that it may strictly be a willow associate. So you can't use may and strictly in the same sentence. So that's super confusing. Um, but yeah, what was that name that I used?
Was
Yeah.
there any willow around?
No, 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 no. Definitely no willow in this area. I think ocularis was one of the things that I was looking at for this. Ocularis. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah,
Yeah, I think whoever's
oculatus.
Oculatus.
Oh, sorry, it was muted. Hunter, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say whoever, I think it was Igor who said earlier, I mean, there's a lot of really like small Lactarius that have a similar look and yeah, they're hard for sure.
Yeah,
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 that's
they're
all.
simply colored, they're small, they're kind of nondescript. Um, they're not like, those more flashy, bigger Lactarius or Lactiflues that we see. Um, yeah, but they're the ones that are tough.
yeah. And the other species that I was considering for this was I think it was Neotibitis. Neotibitis. But you know, there was one or two things that didn't quite look right. I think that one was maybe a birch associate or something like that. No,
Mm.
no, no. No, oculatus is a birch associate, and that's why I felt good about this because there was birch in the area. Um, I forget why I ruled out the other one, but yeah, that's the story of where I am with trying to identify Lactarius. It's like, oh yeah, it looks like that one, but nope, doesn't smell that way. Doesn't the tree association is wrong, or yeah, they're tough.
So let's make an effort next year and collect these small things and get them fingerprinted and see how many species we get.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because we always see these things and I say, "Oh, not again." We just walk away. I'm like, "Who's going to work on these things anyway?" Right?
Well, if we get, at least me personally, I do like 5 minutes of work on it. Like, all right, there's nothing that stands out, so I just give it to John, and
Yeah, and then John looks at them for like 5 hours, and we then
Yeah.
never hear back from him.
exactly. So, yeah, let's get some
Yeah.
sequence.
Yeah, we
Maybe
know.
our only way to know. We'd have to do a bunch and get used to them, sort them out.
Photograph them, smell them, taste them, get the quantity and the color of the milk, and then get them sequenced and see what we get.
Yep. Start building a data set.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
one thing that I always forget to do, or don't, uh, or am not prepared for with these things, is getting the latex and then seeing how that latex stains paper, because
Mm,
that is something that all the descriptions use. Okay, the
yeah.
latex is white, it stains the paper yellow, or it stains the paper white, or you know, so on and so forth.
Hmm. Yeah.
well, doesn't matter what kind of paper that is. Is that regular paper? Is that bonded paper? Is that cigarette paper? Whatever. We have so many different kinds of papers with acid free and with acid.
I would have gone with just printer paper, but that's a valid question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that nipple coming out of the umbo. A very, very interesting shape.
Yeah. Very pronounced.
Yeah, it's at least one that there's enough unique characteristics about it, right? The umbo, that it's growing in sphagnum in this ecology, uh, but still, nothing. So, and here's another mystery to me. And I didn't do the best job documenting the species on the day that it was collected. So I think there's only a couple macro photos, but it was growing on uh, just debris. And was it on wood? Was it on leaves? Was it on hardwood debris? Was it on uh, conifer debris? I do not know. There were both present, and this thing was kind of buried. Uh, just saw the top of it coming out of the leaf litter there. But I'm calling it some kind of wax cap. Um, that is in Meltzer's. That shot of the spores there is in Meltzer's. I don't know if this is a situation that these spores are actually amyloid, or that these spores just took on that Meltzer's and it kind of dyed them. Um, because if you go on to the next photos, you can see that the spores are super hyaline, almost impossible to see. This might be a Meltzer's as well, actually. But you can get that overall spore shape. This is definitely in Meltzer's. That's just the gill material. And this photo is just to show that, yeah, it turned red in Meltzer's, which is red. So that's the gill material without the Meltzer's. Um, yeah, you can make it.
You want me to go back? Yeah.
Well, on on the gill edges, you can see some huge cystidia right where your cursor is. Just was. Yeah, oh yeah, right there as well. Massive, massive cystidia.
Yeah, there's some down here.
And really broad. I mean, these were like over 20 microns with
Yeah, it's
wide,
big.
wide at the apex.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's at 100x. This
All
is
right,
at
400.
400, right? And they're so big that you can only make out the apex of the thing with, this is on a smash mount, so you're not going to be able to make out the base of the thing um, because there's so much material, but you can only get one in focus at any given time. But yeah, massive, massive cystidia.
Huh.
I'm really hoping, yeah, I'm hoping I have spore shots in water coming up because there's a really interesting quality about the spores in water. Maybe go to the next one. Yeah, can you zoom in here, please? Right around the center. Okay, cool. So the one between 5 and 6, you see that like hexagonal thing? That's an inclusion in a spore. It's really hard to make out. Um, it's like this refractive element within these spores. Um, like I said, they're hyaline, so you can barely make out the surrounding spore around that hexagonal kind of inclusion. But if you move up along the integer there, around 7, yeah, between 7 or 8, all those odd shapes to the left there, yeah, that thing, those are those inclusions within a spore.
Hmm.
Maybe this is demonstrated in another photo where I focused more on this cell wall of the spore. I hope so. Yeah, maybe you can make it out between the 1 and 5 and 6.
Something there.
Yeah, can you tell it's really hard to see. It was really hard to photograph because they're high line. But yeah, these odd shapes, I I hesitate to call them gutturals, right? Because gutturals are an oil drop, and oil wants to be round, um, and these are not round.
Are these
So
some sort of crystal thing?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm I'm calling I'm calling them inclusions, which is like a crystalline thing. Description more for certain types of cystidia. But I have seen photographs of Hygrophoraceae spores, uh, which these spores, when I looked at them in melters, they do look like Hygrophoraceae spores, have these kind of crystalline inclusions. So I don't know, like pretty cool. Kind of
Yeah,
hard to make out
different. They're different. Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Well, it seems like you should be able to get to the bottom of it with
Nice.
everything you found here.
I suppose the real smoking gun would be to find a couple of spores on a basidia and see where
Yeah,
that inclusion is. Like, is it there at like the where the spores meet in the
At the attachment. Yeah.
at the attachment there, or is
well,
it
just
something that's on top on that completely other side?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will say on that note, that some of them were definitely in the center of the spore, like, a traditional guttural would be, like that hexagonal one, um, that you could really make out. And then some of them seem to be kind of encompassing the back of the spore. Like some of those more angular ones looked like they looked like they were kind of attached to the back, just hanging on. Um, but
You
it's
know,
really,
I've seen some sometimes like if you can see a couple of spores that are sitting on a basidia where they're like some are, you know, the spores are kind of all facing away from each other a bit. Maybe on this one they're packed tighter, so you get some sort of like residual material in between them. But I suppose that's where solving that would be.
yeah, it's plausible too. I see what you're saying. Uh, Morphologically, does anyone recognize that mushroom that I'm holding in my hand? Would anyone have a guess, like before we looked at spores or anything? Because it is an interesting kind of gestalt to the thing, where it looks like, uh, it doesn't have an annulus, but you could.
This
I've seen it. Yeah,
weird.
I've seen this similar thing like with Gliophorus before, where it doesn't. It has this zone uh, that you can tell the cap separated from, but it's not really an annulus or anything like that.
Awfully fuzzy down the bottom too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It seems distinctive enough.
Little white mushrooms. Everyone's concerned with these little brown mushrooms. These little white mushrooms are
And then
equally.
this little, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. I want to make sure Hunter gets some time here.
Oh, if you want to continue with Brandon, I could save mine for next week.
I'll breeze through this last one. I know what it is. I just wanted to see if you guys had ever seen it before or were familiar with it. This is Serpula, uh, hispidioides, something like that.
Himantioides.
Himantioides, there it is. This is on the underside of a pine log. This is a super common fungus, just, kind of underobserved. Got a really
Only on
cool
pine
harmonium.
or other species? This
I
is
think
cool.
that's one. So the most common Serpula is the one that's found in homes, right? Something you find growing on the baseboard of your house,
Mm,
um, which obviously is a bad sign.
yeah.
But in the wild, on pine, yeah, I think it is a pine associate. Yeah, Hispidioides. Yeah, look at that cool mycelial mat, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And then the hymenium just has this really interesting kind of wavy pattern to it, right? It's not teeth, it's not pores, it's like a morolioid type thing,
Mm-hmm.
just folded up on one another.
And then this white edge, is that diagnostic for this?
That's the margin for this one, and
Mhm.
it's super cottony. It can help you distinguish from some other really similar um, genera
Mhm.
and maybe one other species. I think there's one other species that we'll find on wood logs in the woods in New Jersey of Serpula. But Pseudomoruleus and things like that are not going to have that membranous edge as well as the really strong mycelial growth right next to it.
Yeah, that is really cool. The it looks like a spider web up above.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really neat. or like leaf veins. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
And it's really cool how I think it's really cool how all three of those things look similar, right? The leaf veins, the spider web, mycelial growth, lightning strikes, things like that. They all just kind of have that random expansion. So
Very cool.
yeah, thanks for letting me share, guys.
Nice.
Thank you. You
All right.
want me to wait till next week, or I'd be happy to if you guys prefer, whatever.
Let's see it.
See a couple.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll definitely hang around. Lila, you good?
Yeah, I can go through these.
Yeah, we have 11 people, so that's a good number. So
Okay.
All right, let me move into a different screen here. Let's see if I can share again. All right, something in the Cortinariaceae. Oh, purple. There we go.
Yeah, it was so pretty in real life. And I was really surprised to see these purple stipes, and I really I thought maybe Inocybe, but I did do some microscopy on the spores, um and are these septate? That one looks septate. Like,
I can't zoom in any more than I've got here.
Lila, sorry to interrupt. Is it possible to expand your browser? We're seeing a small screen in the center of
Okay,
your desktop. There we go.
is that better? Okay.
Yeah.
well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, so these are the spores, and I really didn't do more research than this. I was just happy to get some spores under the microscope. But anyone know have any idea? I mean, and agree that it's for sure Cortinarius.
What is this just mounted in water or is this KOH?
It's distilled water.
Are you looking at the yellowness?
Yeah, exactly. That color is interesting, and I've seen in Cortinarius just in water them being this color. So I missed the mushroom though. Can we go back to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the lights were, I mean, really profoundly purple. The photo doesn't do it justice. It was
Yeah, that looks Cortinariaceae, right? That's what you put it up as. Beyond that, I'm not really sure what to do with these things anymore.
okay. Well, that's good. At least, yep, I got the genus right.
You know, this season, when I find these more purple ones now, I try to like look for younger ones, and I just been kind of like tossing leaves around, just right around them, and 9 times out of 10, I find like a brand new one.
Yeah, with the veil intact and everything.
Yep, usually within like a foot.
Oh, okay. I should have done that. Yeah.
And I have and it's weird too because like in my backyard I have a bunch of wood chips, so there's these weird Cortinarius popping up everywhere, and it's shocking how many there are, and they're like little clusters next to each other like that.
Prolific, huh?
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's something else up here. I just noticed in upper left, some little thing. It looks like, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just an oak gall or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
All
could be
right.
a baby, but okay, cool. That's good for that then.
All right. That was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Second one. Oh,
Oh yeah. So I'm pretty positive I have the ID right. I actually was able to get a good print of this on a slide, and I hope I included the spores. Um, but this was very beautiful. And it was on a log that on a down limb or like a down trunk of a tree. And at first I thought it was lion's mane, or actually more like comb tooth or one of the others. But I quickly realized it wasn't. It's a bit stiffer. And so, yeah, and it drops spores. And there should be a picture. And it's not great, but
And
so,
you're calling this, what did you call it? Irpiciporus?
yeah,
I'm gonna look up the spores on those real quick.
thanks. Okay.
This probably would have been a pretty decent photo. I keep especially when I'm taking pictures, I try to get a few in like different with the different amount of light coming through, the iris.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes the camera's just it's picking up, too much or not enough, and there's always a sweet spot.
Oh, okay. So with the yeah, the open and close that a bit and take a few different pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and a lot of times too, because you got an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So when you take the picture and it pops up in the bottom of the screen,
Mm-hmm.
I like immediately click on it to see if I'm like hitting the spot.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you don't just take 200 photos and then go back?
That's what
No,
I do.
I
That's what I
actually
do.
I actually made myself a separate rig for my phone that I can use uh, with the reticle because I cannot hold it there and keep my sanity.
Right, you have one of those mounts, right?
Yeah, but I can't use my regular mount with my reticle, so I actually made a mount that's just for my reticle.
Mm. Yeah, because I found my mount thing to be totally useless that I bought. And um yeah.
Do you have one of the ones that clips on to the
Yeah,
eyepiece?
right. I've
I tried one of those and I kind of liked it.
Oh, really? I haven't been able to. And I brought it down south with me, and someone tried to help me with it, and it was unsatisfactory. But there's probably different ones.
All right.
so we're
So the
Mississippi.
spore
Okay.
photo here. Can we zoom in real quick? Is this at 100?
Uh, Probably. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So I don't think this is Herpetoporus
Mm.
personally, but it could be, and uh, the resubinate, the cap, more or less, may just have been eaten by bugs or fallen apart. Um, but Herpetoporus mollis is has a cap, a very thick cap. thick resupinate cap. The spores seem to match, but I don't know if there are Antrodia species that look the same spore wise. That's just my thought on this.
Okay. So can we just look at my picture again of the mushroom? And so this is lacking a cap in your mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The more that I look at it, the less that I think it would be Irpiciporus, and maybe more something like in Trodia, maybe. No, those do look really teeth-like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think there's, oh, well, yeah, I see. This I think I still have, so I could try to maybe get some better spore shots. But I thought I had it, but
I mean, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate more than anything, just based on the fact that there is no fleshy cap here, right?
yeah.
No, it is three-dimensional though, so these things come out and right, it definitely has some depth. I don't know. The cap is just this weird surface, maybe right here.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying like maybe it was, weathered or something like that. But even still, normally when I find like old Erpicoporus, it still has the cap. The cap is the most prevalent part of it, in fact.
This was in really good shape. I thought it seemed very fresh to me and not old. But it's sort of it hanging an inch above the ground, and then it's on the underside of this fallen trunk or this tree laying down, this dead tree. So, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about like a cap ledge almost. There should be a ledge of the cap
Yeah,
sticking.
yeah, like a shelf, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And that shelf of Erpicoporus pachyderm, it's mollis. I think we only have mollis here in North America. Um, is super thick. I mean, you know, it's not an inconspicuous cap.
Yeah, I wonder if something could have eaten it. Oh,
I'm looking at the photo, and that's also my thought right now.
yeah, perhaps.
Those very flat teeth seem to favor Herpicorius.
Well, that's the other thing. Not,
Herpicorius.
it
Yeah.
doesn't though, because
No?
Erpiciporus, the teeth, the tubes are really kind of serrate, right? They're pretty obviously tubes that are in the form of teeth, if that makes sense.
There's a picture on Mushroom Expert that looks really similar to that.
So these are tubes, I think, right? They look like elongated tubes to me. These are not teeth. These
Right.
are tubes.
Yes. 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 Which is, Erpicoporus is a poroid mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times those teeth, especially with age, and this does look pretty fresh. So, but those teeth in age, they become very obviously elongated tubes, like an Arpex, right?
Huh. Do we have like a different photograph showing these structures at a different angle? Did you pick any of these and flip them over?
I'm looking right now. Let's see. I mean, I did take a piece to do the microscopy, but no, I didn't like dismantle the whole thing from the tree trunk. I just took off one chunk of of um, teeth-like structures. And no, all my pictures look pretty much the same. They're all about the same angle. So kind of the only access I could get because it's under a tree. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not that simple, perhaps.
Beautiful, whatever it is. I
It
like
is
it.
pretty. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We can move on. Thank you for letting me share that.
Okay. What was it? Mm.
Yeah, this I don't know. INET suggested Spretta, and at first I was like, no, and then I was like, yeah, maybe so. Um, so you can see it sort of has these striations. They're very light in nature, and then it has a
It's
well,
kind of a silky smooth top, it looks like.
yes. Mm-hmm. And then yeah, this vulva is probably the most Spretta like thing about it. But I don't know. What do you think, Igor?
Uh, uh, the short marginal striations is a fit for spreader. The cap color, I think the ones I find in New Jersey are more gray. But more
Right.
importantly, the vulva here is very cup-like, cupulate, but in spread, I think it's just loosely structured, very friable. So I'm not sure if this is going to be spreader. Was this in Mississippi or in the
Yeah.
South? Yeah, yeah. I suspect this could be something else. I'm not so sure about this being spreader.
Mm,
Um, wasn't
okay.
there like another species of this more pale-looking Caesarea? Because this is section Caesarea, evidently. Did you cut this in half?
No, I did not.
Uh, did you ensure that there's no bulb in here?
No, this is all I did. Unless I showed spores, but I don't think I did.
No, this
Yeah.
is real.
What's that species name? I have to look it up. I cannot remember it right away. Typically section Caesarea, when you think of it, they're very colorful. Okay, Jacksonii, Amanita Caesarea, but there's these other more modest looking Amanitas in that section, and spread is one of them. There's also Virginiana, which is very small. Uh,
Right.
I've never found this in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, but apparently it's there. But there's this another taxon that's not more maybe yellowish than gray that kind of resembles spreader, and that's the name I'm trying to extract from my memory, and I can't, and I'm not sure where to find it unless I go to Rutthaus's website and see if I can find it. Again, the vulval structure at the base of the stipe is not something I would expect from spreader, but it could be just variable. but this is also from the south, and
Yeah.
I just think from the southern states, and I just think that there's more to it because of that, because of the geography.
I thought Spreda did have a pretty substantial vulva, somewhat similar to this. I have another one that I have labeled Spreta, and it has a really pronounced vulva, and it's sort of like has the same cut to it along the edge where it's like pointing up and then pointing down and then pointing up and then pointing down. But I don't know. So, all right. Well,
Yeah, just try to take more pictures, from different angles, and that
and
usually
cut it
gives a
in
more
half.
complete story about the fruiting body. All the nuances
Okay.
of some of the structures. I it could be spreader, but I don't know, just looks a little bit different from what I would call spreader here in New Jersey. Of course, it could be just a cline. Uh, Basically, as you go to different locations on the continent, there's going to be a variation in morphology, and that's described as a cline.
Is that with a K or a C?
That's a C. Yeah.
Oh,
Just a morphological cline. I forget the exact combination of words, but anyway. So
yeah.
I've seen this before with bolets, and I'm pretty sure that amanitas, given how variable they are, especially like in section vaginatae, yeah, that could also complicate things. So if this thing does have a bulb, yeah, this is from section Caesarea, for sure.
Okay.
And you didn't keep any of this, huh?
No, well, no, everything I brought home unfortunately froze overnight in the car, and it turned to like gaseous, wet mess that I had to get rid of.
Oh,
Unfortunately. Yeah, I had lots of nice specimens in, all separated, but yeah. We were supposed to stay in an Airbnb the last night, but their pipes froze in Kentucky, and so we had to stay in a hotel. And so I should have brought it in, but I wouldn't have been able to put it in the refrigerator. So, anyways, yeah, I ended up with nothing, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, if you travel with a dehydrator, you don't have to
Yeah,
dry the whole fruiting body. You can just basically get a good chunk of it um, and dry it like that. So at least there's going to be some specimen for maybe possible sequencing, something like that. But yeah,
that's what I'll do next time.
yeah, traveling is a problem.
It is hard. Yeah. Yeah, I did notice though. Yeah, many dehydrators. Oh, so yeah, that's what I'll have to do. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Do you know
So
the
this is from Mississippi or Louisiana. Where is it from?
This is from Mississippi, I'm pretty sure.
Mississippi.
Yeah, I
do you
was in
know
both states, so yeah.
yeah, the tree species? What this
Um,
leaf shape? Do you know what that is?
All these oaks, huh?
Some kind of a
yeah, I think there's live oak and a few different types of oaks down there.
okay.
But yeah, I think I'm not sure. Mostly maybe live oak.
Okay.
Mississippi. What part of Mississippi? Northern Mississippi?
No, southern Mississippi. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a gym. I believe it's Luteus now, and Alan Rockefeller, he chimed in, uh, and due to the thickness of the stipe, he said that that's what this was. I did get spores on this, I believe. Yeah, I think there's white swamp oak down there too. But this was pretty, and it did have a really substantial thick stipe to it. It's a nice lichen that's on there.
Yeah, I like this photo. I'd rotate it. It would be easier to look at, but it's really nice. Really cool color contrast.
And it looked like it was growing from the ground, but I think it was right up against this piece of wood that these lichens were on, I think. And
Yeah.
so I think it was attached to the wood.
So what is this? Gymnopolis?
Yeah, luteus.
Cool.
And the issue is the width of the stipe, the massiveness of it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's that. And are there spores there too or no?
No, you just have the two photos.
Okay. I did take the spores. I mean I did take a spore print. I may have not gotten it under the microscope. All right, let's move on. There's like one or two more.
All right. Oh, same thing.
Oh.
13, 14. Yeah, duplicate.
Okay. Did we do 4 of them then?
I think so. Yeah, 40 is the potential spread. This is the
Yeah.
Apioperdons. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, more to show next week then. Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks for letting me share. And
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hunter, I was just looking up that luteus. Do we get luteus in New Jersey? Does anyone know?
I think we might. I could swear one of the ones I found was one.
Yeah, because I know we get subspectabilis here, but I'm not sure if the proper luteus grows here. I don't know Gymnopolis, but yeah, I've never found anything that I would call luteus.
All right. Here's Brandon's Irpiciporus mollis. Uh,
Mine's prettier.
Yeah.
I could say that.
They're different looking for sure.
Yeah, yours is definitely prettier. Sorry, it was muted. But the growth pattern just seems abnormal, in my opinion. I think I know this mushroom pretty well. And it's always capitate. It's always these lacerated teeth, the elongated tubes, kind of descending from the margin. Yours, because this thing starts out pretty poroid. Reflects from the surface in young forms. They do look like pores, and then in maturity they elongate and kind of lacerate and turn into these elongated toothy pores. Yours had just a much different gestalt that reminds me of like Antrodia or Antrodiella, something like that, perhaps.
Okay, maybe Introdiella. Look that up.
Oops. Wrong one. What was it? The second one?
Yeah, even if these like the cap flesh was devoured by something, um, even still, that hymenium kind of tapers, and these are like what, stalactites, mites, just straight down. They don't taper
Yeah, they're
down.
When
impressive.
you guys were talking about it, I looked it up on Mushroom Expert, and it was the one picture. It looked just like Hunter's.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she's wrong. Maybe it's just an abnormal growth of that. But it just really, I see this mushroom a lot, and it's often growing very. There's a lot of resupinate aspects to it, and it's often growing vertically up, standing wood. I don't see it a lot on like a downed log, which this appears to be. Again, just kind of playing devil's advocate. Don't have a better name.
All right. Well, we tried.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think the missing caps may be important. Yeah. So thanks. Thanks for letting me share it. I'll look into that more. Yeah.
Thank you, Stan.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording.